The royal palace of the Zorith Empire was the safest and most beautiful place in the galaxy. Its shining towers touched the sky, and its golden halls were filled with powerful leaders from hundreds of alien worlds. Today was not a normal day. The entire palace had gathered for a ceremony that happened only once every 1,000 years. The newborn daughter of Princess Lyra would choose her first royal protector. Every great warrior dreamed of this honor. The strongest generals stood proudly in polished armor. The smartest commanders waited with confidence. The greatest heroes from many planets believed the child would choose one of them. No one even looked at the human standing quietly near the palace entrance. His name was Ethan. He was only 24 years old. He worked as a simple cleaner inside the palace. Every day, he cleaned the royal halls and gardens without complaining. Most aliens ignored him. Some laughed at him because humans were seen as weak and unimportant. Ethan never argued with anyone. He simply did his work and stayed away from trouble. The royal ceremony finally began. Music echoed through the giant hall. Thousands of guests became silent. Queen Seraphina walked toward her crystal throne. She ruled the largest empire in the galaxy. Her wisdom and strength had kept peace for hundreds of years. Beside her stood Princess Lyra, holding her baby daughter wrapped in soft silver cloth. The little girl opened her bright blue eyes and looked around the room. The royal high priest stepped forward. He raised an ancient crystal staff. His voice filled every corner of the palace. Today the child will choose the one who will protect her for life. No one may influence her choice. The ancient bond will never make a mistake. The queen nodded. Princess Lyra gently placed her daughter on a floating royal cushion. The cushion slowly moved across the hall. It stopped in front of the first general. He smiled proudly. The baby looked at him for a moment. Then she turned away. The cushion floated to another famous warrior. Again the little girl showed no interest. One by one, the greatest heroes waited. None of them were chosen. A quiet whisper spread through the crowd. Many nobles looked confused. Some started to worry. The high priest frowned. This had never happened before. The floating cushion continued moving across the palace. It passed every commander, every scientist, every royal guard. Then something impossible happened. The cushion did not stop in front of another famous hero. Instead, it slowly traveled toward the very back of the hall. It moved closer to the palace entrance. Ethan looked behind himself. He thought someone important had entered. There was no one. When he turned back, the cushion was already in front of him. His heart began to race. He quietly stepped backward. "I think there is a mistake," he said softly. The baby smiled. She reached out her tiny hand toward Ethan. Then she laughed happily. The entire palace became completely silent. No one moved. No one even breathed. The queen slowly stood from her throne. Princess Lyra stared in complete shock. The strongest generals could not believe what they had just seen. A human, an ordinary cleaner, chosen by the royal child. One noble suddenly shouted, "This cannot be allowed." Another shouted, "Humans are not worthy of royal blood." The high priest quickly raised his hand. Silence. His eyes remained fixed on the child. "The ancient bond has spoken. Its choice cannot be changed." The queen slowly walked toward Ethan. Royal guards followed her, but kept their distance. Ethan lowered his head respectfully. "Your Majesty, I did nothing. I do not understand this either." The queen looked into his eyes for several long seconds. She had ruled the galaxy for centuries. She had seen many strange things, but never this. The baby reached forward again. She grabbed Ethan's finger with both tiny hands. The moment she touched him, a warm golden light filled the palace. Ancient symbols appeared across the crystal floor. The walls began to glow. The royal crown on the queen's head shined brighter than ever before. Many guests stepped back in fear. The high priest dropped to one knee. His face turned pale. The ancient bond is awakened. Several old priests immediately followed him. They looked frightened. One of them whispered, "The forgotten prophecy is real." Princess Lyra held her breath. "What prophecy?" she asked. Before anyone could answer, the palace suddenly shook. A loud warning echoed through every hallway. "Emergency alert! Emergency alert! Unknown ships have entered the royal system. All guards prepare for battle." Panic spread across the palace. The queen remained calm. She looked at the baby who still refused to let go of Ethan's hand. Then she turned toward her royal guards. Her voice was cold and powerful. Lock down the entire palace. No one leaves. No one enters. Finally, she looked back at Ethan. From this moment you are under royal protection until we discover why. My granddaughter chose you. Ethan had come to work expecting another ordinary day. Instead, he had become the center of the greatest mystery in the history of the galaxy, and somewhere beyond the stars, someone had already begun moving toward the palace. Because of him, the royal palace was under full lockdown. Every entrance was sealed. Thousands of royal guards stood ready with advanced weapons. Outside the palace, huge defense ships surrounded the planet. Inside the throne hall, no one spoke. Every eye remained on Ethan. The little princess still held his finger. Whenever someone tried to move her away, she began to cry. The moment Ethan came close, she became quiet again. Even the queen had never seen anything like this. Queen Seraphina slowly walked toward the royal high priest. Explain this. The old priest looked nervous. Your Majesty, the ancient bond has never made a mistake. If the child chose this human, then there is a reason hidden deep in history. One of the royal generals stepped forward. His name was General Varrock. He was famous across the galaxy for winning hundreds of battles. He looked at Ethan with cold eyes. This is dangerous. Humans are weak. He could be a spy. He should be removed from the palace immediately. Many nobles agreed. Some even demanded Ethan be arrested before anyone could move. The baby suddenly started crying loudly. The lights inside the hall flickered. The crystal floor began glowing once again. Everyone froze. The queen raised her hand. Nobody touches him. The crying stopped the second Ethan gently spoke. It is all right, little one. Everything is fine. The baby smiled. She reached toward his face and laughed happily. The entire hall became silent again. General Varrock could not understand what he was seeing. The queen looked at Ethan. Have you ever met my family before? Ethan slowly shook his head. Never, Your Majesty. I came to this planet only 3 years ago. I worked hard until I found this job. That is all the queen believed he was telling the truth. She had spent centuries reading faces. She saw fear in him. She saw confusion. But she did not see lies. She turned toward the palace scientists. Bring him to the Royal Research Center. Run every possible test. Find out why the child chose him. Within minutes, Ethan was escorted to the most advanced laboratory in the Empire. The baby refused to stay behind. Princess Lyra carried her daughter into the laboratory. The scientists scanned Ethan from head to toe. They tested his blood, his DNA, his heartbeat, his brain activity, his energy levels. Hours passed. The machines found nothing unusual. One scientist looked disappointed. He is completely human. No alien genes. No hidden technology. No genetic changes. Just an ordinary man. General Varrock smiled proudly. Then this mistake is solved. Remove him. The chief scientist slowly shook his head. No, General. That is the strange part. Every machine says he is ordinary, but every ancient energy scanner reacts only when he touches the child. The queen became more interested. Show me. The scientist placed an ancient crystal beside Ethan. Nothing happened. Then the baby grabbed Ethan's hand. The crystal suddenly filled with golden light. Old symbols appeared inside it. Symbols older than the Empire itself. Several scientists stepped back in shock. The chief scientist whispered, impossible. This technology has been inactive for over 10,000 years. The queen stared at the glowing crystal. Who built this? Before anyone answered, an old woman entered the laboratory. Everyone immediately bowed. She was Keeper Elara, the oldest historian in the Empire. She had spent her entire life protecting forbidden records. Very few people had permission to meet her. She slowly walked toward the glowing crystal. Her hands trembled. I never believed I would see this in my lifetime. The queen looked at her. Tell me everything. Keeper Elara opened an ancient metal book. Most of its pages had turned dark with age. She carefully pointed to an old drawing. It showed an alien queen standing beside a human warrior. The room became completely silent. Long before our empire ruled the stars, humans fought beside the first royal family. They were not servants, they were not workers, they were guardians. They protected the royal bloodline when no one else could. General Varrock laughed. That is only an old legend. There are no human heroes. Keeper, Alara looked directly into his eyes. Then explain why the ancient crystal answered only him. General Varrock said nothing. The queen turned another page. The old drawing showed something familiar. A small child reaching toward a human, exactly like the scene that had happened only hours earlier. Princess Lyra felt cold. This happened before Keeper. Alara nodded. Slowly. Yes, according to the forgotten history, every time darkness threatened the galaxy, a royal child chose a human guardian. The queen looked at Ethan. Who are you? Ethan answered honestly. I do not know. I have always been an ordinary man before anyone could speak. The laboratory alarm suddenly echoed through the room. Warning, warning, unknown signal detected inside the palace. Location classified. Royal archives breached. The queen's expression changed immediately. Only members of the royal family could enter the hidden archives. Yet someone had already broken inside, far beneath the palace. Inside, a chamber locked for 10,000 years. A pair of glowing red eyes slowly opened. A deep voice echoed through the darkness. Guardian has finally returned. Pry for the beginning of the last war. Asterisk. Deep beneath the royal palace, inside a chamber forgotten by history, a pair of glowing red eyes watched an ancient screen. It showed only one person. Ethan. The mysterious voice spoke again. After 10,000 years, the Guardian has returned. The plan begins tonight. Far above, the palace looked peaceful, but hidden danger had already entered its walls. The queen ordered every guard to search the royal archives, every hallway, every tower, every secret tunnel. Nothing was found. It was as if the intruder had disappeared into thin air. General Varrock became more suspicious. He believed Ethan was somehow connected to everything. Your Majesty, this human arrived only 3 years ago. Now ancient machines are waking up. Secret chambers are opening. Enemies are entering our palace. This cannot be a coincidence. Several nobles agreed. They wanted Ethan locked away. Princess Lyra stepped forward. No, my daughter has not left his side for a single moment. She trusts him more than anyone. That means something. The queen remained silent. She still had no answers, but one thing was clear. The child had chosen Ethan for a reason. Until that reason was discovered, no one would touch him. That evening, the royal family gathered for dinner inside the private palace hall. The room was protected by the strongest energy shields in the empire. Only trusted people were allowed inside. Ethan stood near the entrance with several guards. He still felt out of place. He was only a cleaner. Now he was standing beside the queen herself. The little princess sat happily in Ethan's arms. She refused to eat unless he stayed close. Everyone found it strange. Then something unexpected happened. The baby suddenly stopped smiling. She looked toward the large windows. Her tiny face became serious. She slowly raised one little finger, pointing into the darkness outside. Then she started crying. Not like before. This cry was louder, filled with fear. Ethan looked toward the window. At first he saw nothing. For only a second, a dark figure moved across the palace roof. Fast, silent, gone. Ethan reacted without thinking. Everyone get down. The giant window exploded. Black armored attackers crashed into the room. Energy blades flashed through the air. Royal guards rushed forward. The battle began instantly. The attackers moved like shadows. They ignored everyone. Their target was only one person. The baby. One assassin jumped directly toward Princess Lyra. Everything happened in a heartbeat. Ethan ran forward. He grabbed a heavy dining table and pushed it into the assassin's path. The attacker crashed into it. The princess escaped. General Varrock fought another assassin, but the enemy was faster. A blade came straight toward the general's back. Ethan saw it. Without thinking, he pulled Varrock away. The deadly strike missed by only inches. Varrock looked shocked. The human had just saved his life. More attackers entered the hall. Royal guards fought bravely, but these enemies were highly trained. One reached the baby. The assassin raised a glowing knife. The little princess looked directly at him. She did not cry. Instead, she reached toward Ethan. The moment Ethan touched her tiny hand, a wave of golden light exploded across the room. The blast threw every assassin backward. Their weapons stopped working. Their armor cracked apart. Even the palace walls glowed with ancient symbols. Nobody understood what they were seeing. The attackers quickly realized their mission had failed. Their leader pressed a small device. Dark smoke filled the hall. One by one, the assassins disappeared. Only one remained behind. He had been badly injured during the escape. Royal guards surrounded him. Queen stepped forward. "Who sent you?" The assassin laughed. "You are already too late. The Guardian has awakened. The last chapter has begun." General Varrock grabbed him by the armor. "Who is the Guardian?" The assassin looked directly at Ethan. He smiled. "Not him, the child." Before anyone could ask another question, the assassin bit down on a hidden capsule. Within seconds, he was gone. The room became silent. No answers, only more questions. The queen slowly looked around the destroyed hall. The strongest security in the galaxy had been broken. Someone powerful was behind this attack. Princess Lyra held her daughter tightly. The little girl was no longer crying. She simply looked at Ethan and smiled as if she already knew he would protect her. General Varrock walked toward Ethan. For the first time since they met, he lowered his head slightly. "You saved my life. I judged you too quickly." Ethan gave a small nod. "I only did what anyone should do," but deep inside, he knew something was changing. When he had touched the child, he had seen something for only a single second. A strange vision appeared in his mind. A burning galaxy, countless destroyed worlds, a massive golden fleet flying beside human warships, and standing at the center of that fleet, a man wearing armor almost identical to his own reflection. The man turned around. His face was exactly the same as Ethan's. Then the vision disappeared. Ethan stood frozen. His hands were shaking. He had never seen that man before, yet it felt like looking into his own future. Far away in deep space, a gigantic black warship received a message. The palace attack has failed. The human survived. A tall figure wearing a dark crown smiled calmly. "Excellent, everything is happening exactly as the prophecy promised. Do not kill the human anymore. Bring him to me alive, because only he can open the gate of the first Guardians. And once that gate opens, the entire galaxy will belong to me." Morning arrived, but no one inside the royal palace slept peacefully. The attack had changed everything. Every hallway was filled with guards. Every visitor was searched. Every ship entering the royal planet was stopped. The queen declared the highest level of security in the history of the empire. Yet one question remained unanswered. Why did the enemies want the little princess? And why was Ethan connected to all of it? The baby refused to leave Ethan's side. Whenever he walked, she reached for him. Whenever he stopped, she smiled. The queen watched quietly. She had ruled for hundreds of years, but she had never seen a royal child trust someone so completely. Later that day, Keeper Alara asked to meet the queen in private. "Your Majesty, I believe the answers are not inside our history books. They are beneath our feet." The queen looked at her carefully. "There's another place." Keeper Alara nodded. "A place that has remained sealed since the first age. Only the royal bloodline can open it." Queen made her decision immediately. She ordered Princess Lyra, Ethan Keeper, Ilara General Varrock, and a small group of trusted guards to follow her. They walked deep beneath the palace, past forgotten tunnels, past ancient stone doors, until they reached a massive golden gate covered with strange symbols. Ethan had never seen anything like it. The air felt warm, almost alive. "Keeper," Ilara spoke softly, "this chamber was built before our empire existed. Many believed it was only a legend." Queen placed her hand on the center of the gate. Nothing happened. Princess Lyra tried next. Still nothing. General Varrock looked confused. "The royal blood cannot open it." "Then who can?" Before anyone answered, the little princess reached toward Ethan. She laughed happily. The queen looked at him. "Try." Ethan slowly stepped forward. "I am only a human. This cannot work. Just place your hand on the gate." He took a deep breath. His hand touched the ancient metal. For 1 second, nothing happened. Then the entire palace Shook golden light burst from the gate. The strange symbols began to move. The massive door slowly opened for the first time in 10,000 years. Everyone stood frozen. General Varrock whispered, "Impossible." Inside was a huge underground city. It stretched farther than anyone could see. Ancient towers stood untouched by time. Golden machines floated silently in the air. Crystal rivers flowed through the empty streets. Everything looked as if its builders had left only yesterday. Ethan walked forward carefully. Little Princess smiled in his arms, as if she already knew this place. Suddenly lights turned on across the forgotten city, one after another. Thousands of ancient machines awakened. A calm voice echoed through the chamber. "Identity confirmed. Guardian bloodline detected. Welcome home." Everyone looked at Ethan. He looked just as shocked as they were. "I do not understand this. Have never been here." The voice continued. "Primary archive activated. Memory core online. Preparing historical recording." In front of Theme, a giant blue hologram appeared. It showed an enormous battlefield in space. Human ships fought beside alien ships. At the center stood a human wearing shining golden armor. Beside him stood the very first alien queen. The hologram spoke. 10,000 years ago, the first Guardians protected every peaceful civilization. Humans and aliens lived as one family. Together they defeated the Dark Empire, but victory came with betrayal. Someone erased the truth. Human history was destroyed. The Guardians disappeared. The galaxy forgot who saved it. Princess Lyra watched in silence. "So, humans were never our enemies." Keeper Ilara slowly shook her head. "No, they were our greatest allies." General Varrock lowered his head with shame. Everything he had believed about humans had been a lie. The hologram changed again. This time it showed the leader of the Guardians removing his helmet. Everyone gasped. His face looked exactly like Ethan. Not similar, exactly the same. Ethan stepped backward. "Who is that?" The hologram answered. "Supreme Guardian Orion, founder of the Guardian Order, genetic ancestor of Guardian Ethan Carter. DNA match confirmed 99.9%. Ethan could barely breathe. His entire life he believed he was ordinary. Now he had learned he was the last living descendant of the greatest hero in galactic history. The little princess gently touched his face. She smiled as if she was proud of him. Before anyone could speak again, the peaceful city suddenly turned red. Warning lights flashed everywhere. Emergency warning. Unauthorized access detected. Ancient defense systems compromised. Unknown enemy approaching the Guardian core. The queen drew her weapon. "Where are they?" The answer came immediately. A hidden wall exploded behind them. Black armored soldiers poured into the ancient city. There were hundreds of them, far more than before. At their front walked a tall warrior wearing black armor covered with red symbols. He removed his helmet. His cold eyes locked onto Ethan. "At last the final Guardian has been found." The warrior slowly smiled. "Do not fear. I did not come to kill you. I came to bring you to your true master." The little princess suddenly stood in Ethan's arms. For the first time in her life, she spoke a single clear word. "No." The entire underground city trembled, and something ancient far below the palace answered her voice. The single word spoken by the little princess echoed through the ancient city. "No." Her voice was small, but its power shook every wall beneath the palace. The glowing towers came to life. Ancient lights spread across the streets like flowing rivers. Golden symbols covered the floor. Air itself seemed to breathe. Everyone stood frozen. Even the black-armored soldiers stopped moving. Their leader slowly looked at the child. His calm face changed into fear. "Impossible. Guardian Queen has awakened." The little princess looked at him without crying. She was no longer afraid. She simply held Ethan's hand tightly. Deep below the city, a loud sound echoed through the darkness. It was not an explosion. It was the sound of giant doors opening one after another. Massive chambers unlocked after sleeping for 10,000 years. Mysterious voice returned. "Royal command accepted. Guardian protocol Alpha activated. Protect the royal bloodline." A second later, hundreds of golden figures rose from the ground. They were not living soldiers. They were ancient Guardian machines. Each one stood nearly 3 meters tall. Their Armor shined like the morning sun. Blue light filled their eyes. For thousands of years they had waited in silence. Now, they had awakened. The black armored leader stepped backward. Retreat right now, but it was already too late. The Guardian machines moved with incredible speed. They surrounded the invaders before anyone could escape. The battle began. Energy weapons filled the underground city with bright light. Steel crashed against steel. The ancient machines fought with perfect teamwork. Within minutes, dozens of enemy soldiers had fallen. General Varrock stared in complete disbelief. We have the largest army in the galaxy yet. These machines fight better than all of us. Keeper Ilara smiled. Because they were built by the first Guardians. No modern army has ever reached their level. The enemy leader realized he could not win. He pressed a hidden device on his armor. Suddenly every surviving soldier exploded into thick black smoke. When the smoke disappeared, they were gone. They had escaped once again. Underground city became quiet. Only the sound of damaged machines remained. The queen slowly walked toward Ethan. She looked at him with new respect. You are no longer just our guest. You are part of our history. You belong here. Ethan lowered his head. Your Majesty, I still do not understand why all this is happening. I never wanted power. I only wanted a simple life. The queen gave a gentle smile. Sometimes history chooses the people who never ask for greatness. Princess Lyra stepped closer. She placed one hand on Ethan's shoulder. You saved my daughter twice. You protected our family without asking for anything. From this day forward, I trust you with her life. The little princess laughed happily. She reached up and touched Ethan's face. The ancient machines immediately knelt, every single one of them. General Varrock looked around in shock. They are not kneeling to the queen. They are kneeling to Ethan. The ancient voice answered from above. Correction. The Guardian army recognizes the human Guardian and the future Guardian Queen. Joint command confirmed. For the first time in history, a human and the royal bloodline stood together as equal leaders. Far away in deep space inside a giant black fortress, the Dark Ruler watched everything through a hidden spy drone. His name was Emperor Kale, the last ruler of the forgotten Dark Empire. He smiled slowly. So the Guardian army has awakened. Perfect. Everything is moving faster than expected. Young commander looked confused. My emperor, our soldiers failed again. Why are you smiling? Kale walked toward a giant star map. Because I never wanted those soldiers to weenie. Wanted Ethan to activate the Guardian City only. He could unlock the path I have searched for during the last 10,000 years. The commander became nervous. Then our enemy has grown stronger. Kale laughed quietly. No, he has opened the prison for me. He pointed toward a dark area at the center of the galaxy. Hidden inside was a massive object, larger than any planet. It was surrounded by ancient energy chains. The commander stared at it. What is that? Kale's eyes filled with excitement. The Heart Fortress, the true home of the first Guardians. It holds the greatest weapon ever created. Only the blood of the last Guardian can unlock it. And Ethan has already started the key back inside the royal palace. Guardian City continued to awaken. More towers lit up. More ancient systems came online. Suddenly a bright beam of light appeared in the center of the city. A crystal slowly rose from the ground. Ancient voice spoke once again. Final message detected. Recorded by Supreme Guardian Orion. DNA verification. Complete message unlocked for Ethan Carter alone. Ethan stepped toward the crystal. The image of the first Guardian appeared before him. It looked exactly like him. The ancient hero smiled. If you are seeing this, then I have failed. The Dark Empire has returned, and the fate of every world now rests in your hands. Before Ethan could hear the rest of the message, the crystal suddenly shattered. A single black arrow had pierced straight through it. The entire chamber turned silent. Someone else was already inside the Guardian City, watching them from the shadows. This hidden enemy had just destroyed the only message left by the first Guardian. Asterisk. The broken crystal fell across the ancient floor. Sharp pieces scattered in every direction. The glowing image of Supreme Guardian Orion disappeared. Silence filled the Guardian City. No one moved. No one spoke. The queen looked around carefully. Who fired that arrow? Royal guards rushed into the shadows. They searched every street, every tower, every hidden passage. There was no one. It was as if the attacker had vanished into the air. General Varrock picked up the black arrow. Its surface was covered with strange red symbols. Keeper Alara's face turned pale. "I have seen these markings before." Everyone turned toward her. She took a deep breath. These arrows belonged to the Shadow Hunters. They were the personal assassins of the Dark Empire. Thousands of years ago, they could enter any fortress without being seen. Many believed they disappeared forever. The Queen closed her hand tightly. "Then they have returned." Ethan quietly looked at the broken crystal. He felt disappointed. The only message from the first Guardian had been destroyed before he could hear it. The little princess suddenly climbed down from Princess Lyra's arms. She slowly walked toward the broken crystal. Everyone watched her. She gently placed her tiny hand on one of the crystal pieces. Golden light spread across the floor. Every broken piece began floating into the air. Crystal slowly rebuilt itself. Crack after crack disappeared. Within seconds, it looked completely new. The ancient image of Orion returned. Keeper Alara smiled. "The Guardian Queen repaired it." The little princess laughed happily. Then she reached for Ethan once again. The hologram looked directly at him. "Guardian Ethan, listen carefully. You have very little time. The Dark Empire was never completely defeated. Its ruler survived. He has waited in darkness for 10,000 years. He cannot enter the heart fortress by force. Only the blood of the last Guardian can unlock its gates. That is why he needs you alive. Never open the fortress for him, no matter what happens." The image suddenly changed. A map of the galaxy appeared. One star system began glowing brightly. Orion pointed toward it. "The heart fortress is hidden here. Reach it before the Dark Empire inside you will find the Guardian crown. Only its power can unite every peaceful world." The message ended. The crystal became dark again. Queen looked at the map. "Prepare the royal fleet. We leave immediately." General Varrock nodded. Within hours, the largest fleet in the Empire filled the skies above the royal planet. Thousands of battleships, hundreds of carriers, countless fighters. Every captain received the same order: protect the princess, protect Ethan, protect the future of the galaxy. Faraway Emperor Kale watched the royal fleet leave. He smiled exactly as planned. He raised one hand. A giant hologram appeared before him. More than 50 hidden fleets emerged from deep space. Each one had remained invisible for centuries. The commanders waited silently. Kale spoke calmly. "Follow them. Do not attack yet. Let Ethan lead us to the Heart Fortress." The commanders bowed. "As you command." Several days later, the royal fleet reached the edge of the glowing star system. Everything seemed peaceful. Too peaceful. Suddenly, every communication screen turned black. Warning alarms echoed across every ship. Unknown vessels detected one by one. Enormous black warships appeared from empty space. Then hundreds more. Then thousands. Within minutes, the royal fleet was completely surrounded. Princess Lyra looked at the main screen. "This is impossible. No empire has a fleet this large." General Varrock checked the battle reports. His voice became heavy. "We are outnumbered 5-1. Emperor Kale appeared on every screen. He smiled at Ethan. "Guardian, there's no need for anyone else to die. Come with me. I will spare the Queen. I will spare the princess. Refuse, and this entire fleet will become space dust." The bridge became silent. Everyone looked at Ethan. He slowly stepped forward. "If I surrender, will you truly let them live?" Kale smiled again. "You have my word." Before anyone could speak, the little princess grabbed Ethan's hand. She looked straight into his eyes. Then she shook her head. "No." At that exact moment, every Guardian machine aboard the royal fleet activated. Their eyes turned bright blue. A powerful signal spread across the galaxy, unknown to everyone. It reached far beyond the battle, far beyond the Empire, far beyond explored space, deep inside an abandoned human star system, hidden beneath the surface of a dead planet. Millions of sleeping Guardian soldiers opened their glowing eyes together. Ancient factories came back to life. Planet-sized engines started moving. A forgotten fleet, larger than any ever built, slowly rose from beneath the planet. An old computer announced emergency protocol, Omega, accepted. The final human fleet has awakened. Estimated arrival to Guardian Ethan 10 minutes. Far away on his flagship, even Emperor. Kale's confident smile disappeared. For the first time in thousands of years, he looked afraid. Because he knew exactly whose fleet had just awakened, the fleet that had once destroyed the Dark Empire, the fleet he had spent 10,000 years trying to erase. And now it was coming back to finish the war once and for all. The dark battlefield stood completely silent. Millions of ships faced one another across the stars. The royal fleet remained surrounded. Emperor Kale's endless armada blocked every escape. Queen Seraphina stood proudly on the bridge of her flagship. Princess Lyra held her daughter close. Ethan looked through the main window at the impossible number of enemy warships. No one spoke. Then a single blue light appeared at the edge of the star system. General Varrock narrowed his eyes. Another enemy fleet. Before anyone could answer, the blue light became hundreds, then thousands, then millions. The darkness of space slowly turned into an ocean of shining silver ships. Each ship carried the same golden symbol, the Guardian crest. Every screen inside the royal fleet received one message: final human fleet has arrived. Cheers broke out across every royal ship. Queen smiled for the first time since the war had begun. Ethan stared in complete disbelief. He had never seen such a powerful fleet. Planet-sized carriers, massive battleships, fast attack cruisers, countless Guardian drones. The final human fleet stretched farther than the eye could see. Emperor Kale's smile disappeared. He whispered quietly, "Should all be dead." A calm voice echoed across every communication channel. "This is Fleet Commander Atlas, Supreme Commander of the final human fleet. Guardian Ethan, we have been waiting for your return for 10,000 years. Every human ship turned toward Ethan. Then something unbelievable happened. Millions of human crews stood together. They raised one hand across their chests, a salute that had not been seen for 10,000 years. "Welcome home, Supreme Guardian." Ethan stood frozen. "I am not your commander. I am only a cleaner commander." Atlas smiled. "That is what makes you worthy." The first Guardians never chose leaders because of power. They chose them because of their heart. The little princess laughed happily. She reached toward the stars. At that moment, Guardian crown appeared above Ethan. It was made of pure golden light. Slowly it rested on his head. The ancient voice echoed across the galaxy. "Guardian crown accepted. Final Guardian confirmed. Supreme command transferred." Every Guardian ship immediately answered, "Awaiting your orders." Supreme Guardian Ethan looked around the bridge. He saw fear on every face. Royal guards, alien officers, human commanders. Everyone was waiting for him. He remembered the words of Queen Seraphina: "Greatness chooses those who never ask for it." Took a deep breath. Then he gave his first command: no revenge, no hatred. Protect every innocent life. Destroy only those who continue this war. Across the galaxy, millions of Guardian ships moved as one. The battle began. Blue beams crossed the stars. Guardian drones disabled enemy weapons. Instead of destroying helpless ships, royal battleships fought beside human carriers. For the first time in history, humans and aliens fought as one family. Emperor Kale screamed with anger, "Attack everything! Leave no survivors!" His giant flagship charged toward Ethan before it could fire. Little princess raised her tiny hand. Golden light surrounded the Guardian crown. A powerful shield covered the entire battlefield. Every civilian ship became untouchable. Commander Atlas smiled. "The future Guardian Queen has awakened completely." Kale knew he had lost. He activated the Heart Fortress from far away. The enormous ancient station slowly opened. Dark energy filled the star system. Worlds began shaking. Keeper Alara gasped, "If the fortress loses control, this entire sector will disappear." Ethan understood what had to be done. Flew alone toward the Heart Fortress. The Queen tried to stop him, but he smiled calmly. "If one person can save billions, then it is a simple choice." His small Guardian ship entered the ancient fortress. Inside, he found Emperor Kale waiting. The final battle was not fought with giant armies. It was fought by two men, one who wanted power, one Who wanted peace? Gale attacked with ancient guardian weapons stolen long ago. Ethan fought with courage instead of anger during the battle. Gale finally revealed the truth. 10,000 years earlier, he had once been a guardian himself. His hunger for control had started the first great war. The first guardians had sealed him away instead of killing him. Now he wanted revenge against every civilization. The fight reached the hardcore. Gale tried to ancient weapon, but the guardian crown rejected him. Golden light filled the fortress. The voices of the first guardians echoed together. Only those who protect life may command our power. Gale's stolen armor shattered. His weapons turned to dust. Dark ruler fell to his knees. His empire ended at that moment. The Heart Fortress accepted Ethan as its true guardian. The dangerous weapon shut down forever outside. Every remaining enemy ship surrendered. The war was over. Weeks later, leaders from every corner of the galaxy gathered inside the royal palace, the same hall where everything had begun. This time humans stood beside aliens as equals. Queen Seraphina stepped forward. From this day onward, no world shall judge another by its race, only by its actions. The old laws were replaced. A new galactic alliance was created. Commander Atlas handed Ethan the Guardian banner. You restored what we could not. Princess Lyra smiled. My daughter chose correctly. The little princess ran toward Ethan. She hugged his leg and laughed. The entire palace smiled. Years passed. Peace spread across the galaxy. Human scientists and alien engineers built new worlds together. Children from different planets studied in the same schools. Replaced war. Hope replaced fear. One evening, the young princess stood beside Ethan on the highest balcony of the royal palace. She looked at the stars. Then she asked the question everyone had wondered since the beginning. Why did I choose you when I was only a baby? Ethan smiled gently. I still do not know. The queen walked onto the balcony. She looked at both of them before speaking. Sometimes destiny does not choose the strongest warrior. Sometimes it chooses the kindest heart. And that is why an ordinary human cleaner became the greatest guardian the galaxy had ever known.